Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. If I could get everybody to get quickly here, I would like to welcome everyone to the Mid-Atlantic Cooperative Baptist Fellowship annual meeting. My name is Stephen Gray. I'm the moderator for MACBF. I'm also the associate pastor here at Westwood Baptist Church. And we are glad to have you here for this meeting, and I hope you find this to be a good day of fellowship, of fun, of learning, of celebrating the work that God is doing in the Mid-Atlantic region through Cooperative Baptist Fellowship. And so as we do this together, that's what I hope the attitude will be. I'll point out a few things for you real quick. We do have lots of little breakfast goodies and some drinks and coffee. In the back, feel free to get up and go take advantage of that all throughout the opening session here. And if you happen to stay in mission for the breakout, we'll also have it. If you need a restroom, to my right, to your left, just go straight out the hallway there. There's a living room. Take a right, just a little bit down the hall, there's a men's room. Or you can go down these steps to my left, your right, and there's restrooms down there. That should take care of all. Let me open up our time together with prayer this morning, and then we'll begin our time together. Let us pray. Lord, we are so grateful to be gathered together in your presence this morning to celebrate the work that you will do to the Mid-Atlantic Cooperative Baptist and all of our different churches and ministries. But we ask that you would be with us this morning as we recap what you are doing through us, as we celebrate the things that have happened and the things that are to come. Lord, be with us this morning, and may all that we do in fellowship, in worship, in business, whatever it might be, may it all be done to your glory and for yours alone. We pray all this in the name of your Son and our Savior, Jesus the Christ. Amen. Amen. Okay, we're going to start off with our coordinators report. So I'm going to ask Sean to come up here.
Good morning. It is good to be together. We at MACBF have kind of coined our phrase or used our tagline, better together, and it just feels good to be back together. I want to take this opportunity to thank Westwood Baptist Church for hosting us and for welcoming us into their space and giving us plenty of room to have our meeting. And I am thankful for their commitment to MACBF and to CBF and for having us here. Brian Brock is the pastor. Yeah, he's there. So Brian, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And of course, Stephen is associate pastor, and he's also our moderator. And I want to just pause and say a special thank you for Stephen, because Stephen has done a ton of work to make this happen today. Not just dealing with me and all the little meetings of putting an annual meeting together, but setting up and coming here early and being here. So Stephen, I really appreciate this. This is wonderful. And we couldn't do it without you. So we really do appreciate you. As we gather here, I do want to take the opportunity to welcome some guests. We have some special guests with us here today. We have some people that have come from the CBF Global office and offices, and so I want you to make sure you see them and know them. Jay Keevy is here. He's all the way in the back. Yeah, there's Jay. Jay is the abuse prevention and response advocate, and also now the director of ministerial transition. So if your church is looking for a minister, pastor, talk to Jay. Get to know Jay, connect with him, and it is a gift. The CBF has someone in that role. It's a gift that we have Jay in that role. So get to know him. We also have with us Ricky Letson right here. He's Congregational Stewardship Officer. Ricky has been working on what does stewardship look like in this day for churches? What does it mean? How can we think differently about this? And he's got important information to share with you, with churches. When I found out that Ricky was going to be here, I made sure that our finance person at First Baptist Church of Herndon was going to come. So Laura, there he is. Make sure you get to talk to him. Also, we have Chris Aho with us, and he is our feature speaker today. We are thankful that Chris has taken this time. He's gonna run one of our breakout sessions right here. He's gonna preach for us. He also gets the privilege of preaching at First Baptist Church of Herndon tomorrow. Chris is the director of Thriving Congregations. This is a new position at CBF because CBF was awarded a grant from the Lilly Endowment. And so Chris has been looking at what does it mean to thrive in this day, for congregations to thrive. And he's starting some cohorts, and some of your churches may want to be a part of those cohorts. I think it's starting in the spring. He'll share a lot of information about that. Chris, we are thankful that you are here. And also, not from the CBF Global office, but just down the road in Richmond, Terry Maples is here, and Terry is the executive coordinator of CBF of Virginia. And we are glad that Terry has gotten up early and made his way here because of our collaborative agreement that we have forged together. CBF of Virginia and Mid-Atlantic CBF are looking at ways that we can share with each other and do this work together. And we're going to hear a little bit more about that from Terry a little bit later. So we are thankful. I'm thankful that you're here. I'm thankful that you have taken this time. You got up early this morning to be with us today. In Psalm 126, the psalmist begins by saying, "When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dream." And doesn't this feel like we can dream again? It's been 3 years since we have been able to be together for our annual meeting. In fact, in 2020, the first meeting to fall that I was involved with was the Mid-Atlantic Cooperative Baptist annual meeting. We made the decision that this thing called coronavirus was coming and it wasn't wise for us to do it. It was the first meeting to be canceled. We had a Zoom meeting last year, but wow, it really feels good to be in a room together. And over the past couple of years, we have discovered some new things together. We have done Zoom prayer gatherings and Zoom lunches without lunch. We had an in-person lunch where we ate outside. We had the opportunity, because of an incredible generous grant from CBF, to have a rest and renewal retreat for ministers. We got to go up to West Virginia and let our hair down, those of us that have hair. Some of us learned to play golf. Some of us tried to relearn how to play golf. Some of us discovered the beauty of a bath in the healing waters of Capon Springs. it was a gift for us to be together, time together, but also together, we discovered a time away to rest without an agenda. We had this rest and renewal retreat for our ministers, and it was so valuable and important. And we may be able to do another one like it again later. We're going to have another retreat coming up in June, but it's not going to be like this rest and renewal retreat, and hopefully we can do another one of those in years to come. We've also done other things in the midst of the pandemic, other ways of discovering how we can be together. We joined together with the Institute of Justice Formation to take an in-depth look at critical race theory, to provide a different Baptist perspective on CRT. And we wrestle with the question, CRT, is it friend, foe, or opportunity? And those sessions are on our website, and I encourage you to watch them because they were rich and they were deep and they were good. And we are continuing that conversation. Actually, right now, we are continuing the conversation with the Institute of Justice Formation with our critical engagement with biblical justice seminar, which took a break this week because of this meeting, and our final session will be next Saturday. And some of our pastors have played a role in this seminar, and it's been incredible. And I hope that in a few weeks, we'll be able to put those seminars on our webpage. So lots of good things have happened. A lot of good things have taken place. We have figured out how to be together, even when we couldn't always be together. But we also took some time over the past year to try to realize, how do we continue to do this work? Because MACBF has had a transition through the pandemic. I was not the coordinator at the beginning of the pandemic, and now I am. And how do we now move forward with a very part-time coordinator? And so we met, and the coordinating council thought and worked, and we developed a series of teams: a clergy care team, an administration team, a congregational care team, and a mission engagement team. And you're going to have an opportunity to hear from them in a little bit. But also, you have an opportunity to join that work. At the back table is a list of those teams. And if you think you might be interested in exploring joining those teams, we just ask that you put your name down and give us your email. You're not signing up for the team. You're just saying, I want to explore this. And one of our team leaders will contact you and talk about what this means. And here's the thing. Clergy and laity have taken the lead on the teams. And we ask clergy to build these teams and work on these teams, while they were also trying to figure out how to get their churches back up and running during the pandemic. So it didn't go real fast, but I am very pleased with the progress that we have made. We have done some good things, even in the pandemic. I have connected with ministers and clergy and chaplains over Zoom, mainly over the past year. And I hope that soon I can get out and start getting into some of your churches and meeting people face to face. As your coordinator, I represent the Mid-Atlantic at CBF Global meetings and gatherings. The past year, a lot of those have been on Zoom. We have had a couple that were in person. And early Monday morning, I'm going to drive down, and Terry and I'm going to drive to Richmond. Terry's going to pick me up, and we're going to go to Raleigh for a MLT meeting, which is the all of the coordinators and regional directors that meet. I'm going to Dallas for this year's General Assembly. And if you are planning on going, I want you to let me know, because MACBF will have a time together in that gathering in Dallas. We're going to have dinner together, actually. That's what they're doing this year for the General Assembly, is the states and regions will meet around dinner. So let me know if you're coming, and I'll make sure you know where to meet. I think MACBF is in a good place. We've been through change and transition, but I think we have created a sustainable structure that will serve us well for years to come. We're not stressed about our resources and if our resources are going to run out. We don't have to worry about that. Lots of other churches and denominations are thinking about that, but MACBF is set up. We have come up with a structure and way that is going to see us through. We are in a place where we can thrive together. We're still building our structure, and we're going to tinker with it when we need to, and we will be asking you for help. We're moving forward, and I think there is a bright future for us. I think today we have the opportunity to dream. As we come back together, as the Lord restores the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dream, and now we can dream. I am thankful for your commitment, for your work. I'm thankful for the possibilities of a new collaborative agreement that is going to help us to thrive, and that where we can share who we are with CBF of Virginia. So I thank you for being here today, and let us thrive together. Amen.
Thank you, Sean. We'll take a moment now. We'll hear from some of the teams that Sean mentioned. And so you'll see those listed. I'm going to call up our clergy care team. We have Jovi Triquet and Pam Moyer are our leaders for that team. Yeah, for both of us. First up to the mic, actually, I guess, let me just say a word about Sean. Thank you, Sean. He came in the midst of the pandemic. I said when this started, there are two responsibilities I would never like to have. One is a school personnel, kindergarten teacher, administrator, college president. I would not want that in the midst of the pandemic, or being a pastor. I was stuck with the other one. But you stepped into a new role, and you talked about it being a part-time, really focused part-time, but that focused effort that you give, you mentioned golf, you're driving it right down the fairway every time. And I thank you so much for all that you're doing. You know, the development of these teams was so important because of the type of transition we had, because in addition to what you see Sean doing here, he is full-time pastor at a congregation who's a part here at First Herndon, and it is a huge task, both of those. And so we as a coordinating council, we thought, what are we going to do to rally, to stand alongside, and to do the things we need to do? And so we developed these teams. The first one you see listed is clergy care, and that's was dear to my heart as clergy, as a pastor in the midst of that pandemic, going through all the things that we all went through. This has always been one of the responsibilities, I think, of a body like ours and the ministries like Sean and then Trish before him, was to be a pastor to pastors and that clergy care element. But now the pandemic made it acute. It brought to the surface a lot of things that we were having to face. And then one of those things is not only are there needs now more evident, but how do you address those needs? And so as a group, we formed this clergy care team. One of the things we wanted to do is provide times of outlet and times of input, times where we can just gather together. And coming out of the retreat, that if we do get to do another one of those, Cape Cod Springs or something close, something like that, a wonderful time of rest. And we experienced that clergy care moment. It was a great, great, refreshing time. And as we left from there, my heart was just turned to, we need to carry this on. And so we put together, as part of this team concept, the clergy care team. So we set aside a series of events that we hoped would follow much like that Cape Cod Springs moment, to be together. But we, like watching the weather, we watched the reports, and along came Delta, and along came Omicron, and so many of the things we wanted to do were forced back to the digital age again. And so our first real event after forming these teams was an administrative discussion. We had hoped to have lunch. We had a church in Maryland. We wanted to gather. We wanted to do this. And then it just became very difficult to do. We made, I think, the right and wise decision to say, let's go back to Zoom. We still had a good response. We had a great turnout, and we discussed how has the pandemic forced you or given you opportunity to adjust the way you do things administratively from the church office on out. It was a great opportunity just again to vent, and then also to receive, to hear some things. One of the things that I would be doing right now and sharing with you reports of what has happened already in 2022 would be sharing what a wonderful time we had back in February at our annual clergy retreat for clergy and chaplains, something that we set aside. It's been 2 years since we've done it. Well, then along comes Omicron, and we decided not to go digital with that, but to put it off to the summer. So instead of a report, I'm going to let Pam share with you what's coming up. And so keep your eye on the website, the email blast. There are a number of things that we want to do for clergy on at least a quarterly basis, maybe in Zoom, maybe a gathering. We'd love to get back to that again. But the next thing really etched into our calendar coming up that we really want to promote is the now not February, but June annual retreat after it's been on hiatus for a couple of years. So Pam, tell us about that.
Thanks, Joby, and thanks for the introduction. That helped the segue. I'm still fairly new to MACBF, so it's been a pleasure to serve with Sean and Joby. We've talked a lot during this time. And I want to encourage you first, before I talk about the retreat, to please join our team. Since I'm sort of new here, I don't know all of you yet, and but I would like you to, I think we've got some signups in the back. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity to serve each other, and we are better together. So I look forward to working with some of you. Please do sign up or come talk to me and ask what our vision is. But one of our visions, we're very thrilled. It's going to be, please calendar this, June 9th and 10th. And we will be at Hollywood again, yay. And it's going to be warm. That's my favorite part. I can't wait to walk around the lake and do the labyrinth with a t-shirt on instead of a bulky, puffy coat. So please put it on your calendar. I know that's a tough weekend for some parents with school things going on, but please try to make it. It's only 24 hours. So we literally show up, well, it'll be a little more with the travel time, but it's real close. It's only about an hour and a half, I think, from my house. So it's very, very close. It's in Maryland, and we'll send you all the details. It's a beautiful setting. I've only been to one, and oh my goodness, it was life-changing for me. It came at a time where I had just taken on a new senior pastorate position, and even though COVID was coming, I spent a lot of time getting to know you and in the workshops, but also in the, not workshop, sorry, that's the wrong term, in conversation, and also walking the labyrinth, as I said, and around the lake. And so it was very formative for me. I have had almost a year in the position, in this new position in a church, and then I had this wonderful retreat. So I encourage you to come. You never know what's going to evolve from that experience. But our speaker this year is Christy Foldenhauer. And she is, her bio is on LinkedIn, and Sean's been so gracious to send it out if you've had a chance to see it. And just to give you a couple tidbits about her, thanks to Jody Faig, I met her at one of the BGAV events. Actually, it was a CBF lunch, that particular meeting. And we connected right away. She comes out of a financial business, 10 years in the financial world, seminary at BTSR, and then with her MTS. And then she was the former pastor at Tomahawk in Richmond. And then now she did coaching. The other time I met her was through coaching, remissioning course through V3, through Baptist General Association of Virginia, which may not mean anything to you Marylanders, but it was amazing. She is just amazing. And so she's also been the Uptick pastor mentor for new pastors, Catalyst, BGAV, and she's entering a new business space as a coach to both churches and to businesses. So she's quite competent, but don't panic. This is not a leadership retreat. This is, we are not trying to get her to tell you how to run your church again or any of that. This is going to be another reflective time. And our goal is 24 hours for clergy and chaplains, a space to get away, to be together, to refill this well that has been just parched from COVID and from regathering again. And I think it's continuing to be dry. I don't know about you, but it still, we've already talked about rest and renewal. So it will be a different focus. And I'll give you a hint. How are you wired as a leader? There will be a DISC. How many of you had the DISC program, DISC? Okay, it's sort of like Myers-Briggs, and it's been a while since I've taken it. So we will let you take it again. We'll ask how you lead as you are wired, but mostly, how do you take care of yourself as you're wired? So I'm pretty excited. She's going to use Haggai scripture, but it's about temple wholeness and holiness, and how does your personality as a leader of your church affect how you recharge and renew, and how is that translating over to your people? And you know what I'm saying. I'm preaching to the choir here, but you know, there were some things we just don't talk about, and that's one of the areas that we don't discuss a lot. So please plan to be there, where there's going to be a creative element. I'm excited about that, of course. And we will talk a little bit in groups. So you will be paired up with people of like minds and have a chance to explore your shadow side. That may scare some folks, but I don't think so. I hope that's exciting. And this was a collaborative discussion. It wasn't my idea. We spent some time discussing it. So I hope you'll sign up and plan to come. It's very affordable. We've given some credits on that, and I hope you'll join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam and Joby, for that. Our next team is the Congregational Connections team, and I'll have Meg come up and share a few words about that.
Hi there. Okay, quick question. How many of you grew up Baptist? Okay, that's a whole bunch, but there is a good contingent that didn't. And so I did not grow up Baptist. I chose to be Baptist, and one of the reasons I chose to be Baptist is that it is about the priesthood of all believers. And so it's not just about the clergy. Every single person is a minister. And Congregational Connections is about the laity, all the lay people, because we don't just have clergy in this room. So I want to recognize all the lay people. If you are not clergy, can you wave at us? Look at this, that is a whole. Okay, these are the people who are doing so much ministry in our churches. And Mid-Atlantic CBF, more than a lot of the CBF places that I have been, is a place where there are not individual pastors over a bunch of different little areas, right? A lot of your churches do not have specific children's pastors, youth pastors, mission pastors, outreach pastors, whatnot, right? The lay people are doing that. And you are now, after a pandemic, struggling to get critical mass in a lot of these areas. But that means that there is a wonderful opportunity, because one of the other things that I have realized as not growing up Baptist, the reason that we come together to do these things like Mid-Atlantic Cooperative Baptist Fellowship Gathering is to get people together and be better together and do these projects with one another, to have resources together, to not create the wheel all over again by ourselves, but to collaborate. So congregational connection is to do just that. We want to have more connections together. I have kind of piloted a couple of those things with some youth and young adult projects, and we are wanting to do more of that. So especially if you are lay people, I would love to have you sign up if you are interested in collaborating on some trips for young adults, some mission projects for people, or just any way that we can collaborate together. But it is about getting lay people together, celebrating the work and the ministry that you all are doing, but working together. We can do so much more when we are working together. And there are great opportunities to do that within MACBF. And we are so grateful that you are all here today to help us do that.
Thank you, Meg. Now we have our administrative team. I'm going to ask Leica Ennis to come up and share. I'm a part of this team as well, but she can do it much better.
Good morning, everyone. For the administrative team, in the title itself, this deals with the day-to-day of MACBF. And so we deal with all this, the business, just the day-to-day operations. Probably one of the first things we did was review our bylaws. And we were able to in this fiscal year, we were able to nominate a moderator-elect, and we have, so that person's already lined up, and he's been working with us. He's on the admin team with us as well. And we're working closely with Stephen to learn the inner workings. And so when we roll over to the new fiscal year, he will be standing in front of you. Another thing, of course, is we reviewed, our rotations for the different MACBF members. And so that's something else that we are working on as well. Of course, during this time period, if you've noticed, we've made some changes on our website and made some updates. And so for the admin part, we are also, looking definitely anyone that has skills in updating websites or social media. Those things are something that we always need, help with around. So those are kind of skills that we are always seeking. You'll work closely with not only me, which I am also the treasurer as well, but you'll also work with Sean as well. He is a great leader and provides really good feedback and direction on where MACBF is. And so my name is Leica Ennis, and so I hope that you come and talk to me, and I'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Leica. And then our last team is the mission engagement team, and Bradley Boberg is one of our leaders for that, and Isaac Waste is also one of the leaders, and Isaac will come and give us a report.
So the missions engagement team is led by Bradley Boberg, lead pastor at Oaks Hill Baptist Church. I'm Isaac Mwasa. I'm one of the pastors at University Baptist Church in Baltimore. Also serving on the mission engagement team is Ann Smith. She's a chaplain at the airports, Dallas and Reagan National. Bradley was not able to come today, so he asked me to give these highlights. Three things that wanted to bring to your attention. The MACBF is blessed to have a mission grant program. The Bill, George, and Patricia Bollinger Mission Fund is alive, active, and available. And your churches have an opportunity to tap some of these funds. We spent some time making some changes with consultation from our able coordinator, Sean, to make it easy for you as churches to apply for grants. The form is now online.
Yes.
And it'll take you maybe 10 minutes to fill it out. In all MACBF member churches have the privilege of doing that. And all our mission partners can apply for a grant for creative mission projects that you are doing in your communities. And each grant can be up to $1,000. So take advantage of that, and we would like to see some of your applications coming in so we can get these funds to good use in our churches. Second thing is, we are also looking to provide mission education to our churches. And as part of that effort, we want to understand what is going on in our churches. What is it that you are doing in your churches? You know, at University Baptist, we have a variety of mission projects, and we would like to get all those and see if we can have some coordination and where there are areas where we can create synergies, promote cooperation between our churches. We have some wonderful partners already with Refuge and Hope in Uganda, as well as many other CBF field personnel, including Greg and Sue Smith, who are with the Luca Ministries in Fredericksburg, Maryland. We are also looking to strengthen these partnerships. We're also looking to provide some more opportunities for churches to learn about and support CBF field personnel and our mission partners. The last thing, we are looking for an opportunity in the future to do mission work together. It is here in the DMV, or with the experience to travel somewhere else in the world. We want the MACBF to be on mission together. You know, we're going to thrive together when we come together in these ways, but also when we come together to go and do the Lord's work in other places. So these are some of the things that we're working on, and who will be delighted for those of you who have a passion for mission work to be part of our team. So grab hold of me or put your name, and we'll get in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. And I will echo what Isaac said. If you are interested in any one of these 4 teams, clergy, lay people, chaplains, whatever, I encourage you to just, if you're interested, just still put your name on one of those sheets back there, and someone will get in touch with you and let you know how you can be a part of one of those teams. Our next item on our agenda is our budget for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. You will find that in your packet, so I encourage you to look back to that. And Leica is going to come up here and explain the budget to us and take any questions that you might have.
Hello, everyone again. If you would please, in your programs, go to the last page. So I want to make this as exciting as possible. So, probably the first thing is just to thank all of the MACBF churches and individuals that continue to support our organization, not only, you know, in, you know, in your donations, but just being here even today, you know, participating. We had our virtual series, just continuing to you know, support us throughout this, you know, especially during this time of the pandemic. So we send your thanks. So just to give you a nice little overview of what you're looking at, you'll see 5 columns. The first, of course, has the income and expenditures. The next one is the budget for fiscal year 2022 to 2023. And then we've also put the previous 2 fiscal years for comparison. And then the last column is the actual year to date, basically through February 28, 2022. Just so you know, our fiscal year is from April 1st to March 31st. So we're still in the current fiscal year. And of course, we'll be closing it out actually in the next few days. Just a couple things to note on the year to date for the actual. If you look in the 2021 to 22, that's actually the current budget that we're in right now. If you do the comparison, you'll see our income that we put in from our donations and some of our enrichments. Activities, we had budgeted 22,200, and we actually we've gone over our budgeted amount, and we're at $26,826.48. And this does not include any of the block grant funding that we have. This is straight from the support that we have from our churches and from our individuals. Likewise, again, please continue with that 21, 22 column for our actual budget currently. If you look, our expenses are tremendously lower. The pandemic, of course, you all know we cut down on a lot of our in-person activities, and we went basically 100% virtual. We also had a change in our executive coordinator. And so that compensation package has also greatly decreased. And so we do have a low expenses. So as you can see, what we budgeted for this current fiscal year is we've only spent about 60%, which is a little over 16.5 K for expenses. And I don't estimate we'll probably maybe make up to about 18 by the end of fiscal year. And for the year-to-date donations will probably go up to probably a little over 28,000. And so that's our estimates for this current fiscal year. And so moving on to our budget for 2022 to 2023, which we begin on April 1st. We kept the amount of donations and fees from our different activities the same. We do anticipate more in-person activities, but we also have some grant funding that will be able to offset some of these as well. In expenses, you'll see it's a little bit more than what we budgeted from the previous year. And so a couple of things to note, we've increased our enrichment expenses. We were supposed to have our clergy retreat in February. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, we had to push it to June. So that's where you see the increase for that particular line item. because we'll still do the regular clergy retreat that was supposed to be in January and June. And then before the fiscal year ends, we'll be doing the regular scheduled clergy retreat, which would be early February, well, February. In terms of, look at there's 3: national representation, part-time coordinator, and coordinator expenses. The part-time coordinator is the salary compensation that we have for Sean. The national representation, we anticipate that CBF National is going to have more in person. That, of course, starting with their annual meeting, which takes place in June. So we anticipate Sean will be traveling a lot more for CBF events. So what we did was we increased the amount for his national representation and then decreased for coordinator expense, because once again, MACBF, we still will have a hybrid approach to a lot of our activities. And so I know that Sean would meet with area churches, but probably on a hybrid, some in person, some virtual. And so the rest of the amount is pretty much the same. And so that is it for our budget for 2022 and 2023. Questions?
Anybody have any questions for Leica?
Oh, before I go, okay, go
Yes,
ahead.
we have one question.
We want to say thank you for the hours and hours of support.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I wanted to, before I leave you, one more exciting thing. So if you guys turn to the back of that page, this is, I put it separate because I wanted us to be able to see, that we do have this block grant and what we spent it on. And also, I wanted to also show the pass-through funds. And so the first part is the block grant. We received 32,000 from CBF, and we divided into 3 areas: clergy prayer, racial justice and diversity, and the church revitalization grants. And so we still have a pot for the grants. So for clergy prayer, the majority we did a retreat in the summer. And so we had our participants have a nominal fee, and we basically took care of the rest of it. And that was in the summer of 2021. And then for the racial justice and diversity, hold on, I have notes here. We co-sponsored the CRT seminar series with the Institute of Justice Formation, and the Washington Theological Consortium. And so we were a co-sponsor for that, and we've actually placed the series on our website. And the entire series, speakers, presentations, and videos are located there as well. For the Bill, George, and Pat Bollinger Mission Fund, so far 1,100. And so we, you heard Isaac, make sure that you apply for that grant. For the pass-through, like I said, pass-through funds are those funds that churches send to us, and then we send it forward to CBF, national and global mission, as well as some of the churches will support some of our mission partners. And so as you can see in that, it's not yellow on yours, but the year to date, we've had $912.50 pass through to CBF National. For global missions, $3,900, which is great because I know during this pandemic, global missions has definitely taken a hit, and this is great that we've been able to contribute this way. And of course, to our mission partners, this one went to Refuge and Hope International in Uganda, so they definitely send their thanks. And that wraps up my budget and financial report. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leica. Any other questions? Okay, as per our bylaws, this budget was adopted and approved by the coordinating council, but we would like to get affirmation from the admitting Atlantic Cooperative Baptist Fellowship body at large. So if you would affirm our budget for the upcoming fiscal year, please say amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Next, to come and do something fun to break up the sitting. So,
All right. So it turns out that who you are affects how you minister, right? And what you're passionate about and what you do with your time affects how you minister. So how many of you have a phone with you? Probably almost everybody. And how many of you tend to use your phone to take pictures? Okay, so I need a number. How about from this back table back here, between 1 and 15? 8. Okay. So in just a minute, we're going to do something where you find one person that you've never talked to before, you think. Maybe you've said hi to them this morning. And you're going to look in your camera roll for your 8th picture that is safe to share. And you're going to use that picture to talk to them. I mean, you know what? It may be a picture. I've played this game before and it was a picture of someone's toilet because they needed to go to Home Depot to fix something. Okay, but use that picture to introduce yourself to that person. So I want you to find somebody that you don't already know. Use your 8th picture in your camera roll that's safe to share to tell them something about yourself. So we'll take a few minutes to do that. And so go ahead and find someone you don't know. And keep in mind, you can play this game later this morning and eat some more good people. This is always a fun one.
As everyone makes their way back to their tables, I will share with you that we are on MACBF time, which means we built in intentionally some flexibility with the schedule. So we may go a little bit longer, but there's plenty of time between the end of breakouts and worship, so we can shift our time a little bit. So don't worry, we will get full breakouts in, and you'll have a little break between the end of this and when breakouts start. So we'll let you know exactly about all of that. So as we move along in our schedule, I would encourage you to do as Meg said, get to know new people. You can use this little camera roll thing, whatever you might want to do. But there are at least, I think, 15 or so different churches or ministries that are present at this meeting, not including all of the CBF different people. So that's exciting to have that much representation. So get to know some different people. Speaking of collaboration, I'm going to invite Terry Maples to come up and share about the agreement between MACBF and CBF Virginia. FYI, Terry Maples was on staff here at Westwood before I came. So he's a good friend. He's a good person to have.
Good morning. It's good to be back in Northern Virginia today. I'm especially delighted to be back at Westwood. It feels like home in many ways. It's been a long time though since I was here. I arrived here after serving a very institutionalized congregation in Florida. I was miserable. But I showed up in Northern Virginia. One of the first things that a layperson said to me was, you know, we don't care about all of your book learning and all that stuff. What we want you to do is to be yourself. We want you to bring your spirituality to bear in this congregation. And I thought to myself, my, what a difference. This is a different kind of place. And I can tell you, I have been other places since I have been here, and there is no spirit like the spirit of Northern Virginia. I can't speak for Maryland, other than helping start a church when I was in seminary, I guess. But I can speak for Northern Virginia. This is a different world. And some of you never cross over into the other parts of Virginia, but that's where I'm spending most of my time these days. I loved being here. It was a great time in our lives. If we could have afforded to live here, we'd probably still be here. I want to say to you, you have chosen wisely. I am so delighted that Sean is leading the work of Mid-Atlantic CBF. He's a good friend of CBF. He's a good collaborative person, and that's a good kind of thing to have when your name is Cooperative Baptist Fellowship. We teasingly say we're the kind of Baptists who choose to get along and work together and collaborate. he and I both see high value in partnership. We are better together, and we swim in the same worlds. Christy Foldenauer is a dear friend. She has served on my coordinating council. Andre Towner is a good friend. He has served on my coordinating council. So we do a lot of things together. We work with a lot of the same people, but we have uniquenesses about our organizations, and that's why we have engaged in this collaborative partnership. We did this to mutually benefit both of our organizations. Conversations have happened throughout the years. I'm aware of many of those conversations that happened before. But it is not until this unique time, this unique juncture in the life of both of our organizations, that we have actually formalized a collaborative partnership. And that is in large part because of your leader. He's cheap too. Man. I can honestly say to you that this region has much to offer Cooperative Baptist Fellowship of Virginia. Actually, you have a lot to offer to the entire fellowship. Churches and clergy here have made progress in areas that many other parts of the state are still struggling with. We need to be stretched, and you all have capacity to help us with that. I am excited to learn from veterans who are making a difference through advocacy efforts here in Northern Virginia and in the Maryland area. I don't know all of you, but I know people like Austin Almager and the incredible advocacy work that he is doing and the ways in which he is guiding the Anabaptist. And I know about some of your other churches as well. We want to learn from your experiences. You are strategically located near Washington, D.C. That's an asset. And you were here near the Baptist Joint Committee. In fact, our first actual collaborative project that we're going to do together is in partnership with BJC. They are going to lead an advocacy training experience for us in the latter part of April. So I'm excited about that. I look forward to learning what you folks have discovered about diversity. Diversity is an asset in Northern Virginia. My son had just started school when we moved away from here. There were people from every country in his preschool class. And we arrived in Virginia, and the first thing we did when we looked around, we said, oh my, this is different. You have plowed important ground around ecumenical and interfaith dialogue. And certainly you have done work in the area of social justice that we are just beginning to dip our toes into. So we see working with you, learning from your leaders as great assets to enrich and enhance our ministry with CBF Virginia. Mostly, I see great benefit from our two regions working together to more effectively resource clergy and congregations, together forming beloved community and pursuing justice for all. So I'm glad to be with you today. I couldn't be happier that we are forging this partnership. I look forward to working with Sean and many of you in the days to come. I am inching toward retirement, but I am delighted that our organizations are going to be working together. I see great things coming. So I'm here throughout the day, and I will stay through lunch, and I would love to chat with you. I will have to leave shortly after lunch. We have a major event happening in Williamsburg this weekend, so I'm off to Williamsburg this afternoon. But I want to pray that God richly blesses each one of you, your congregations, and us as we work together, because we are better together. Thank you.
Terry, I appreciate that. And I just wanted to share just a little bit too, kind of from our side. some of the things that we realized through the pandemic in the larger CBF family is how we have this technology where we can kind of cross lines and we can share resources together. And I think experiencing that, going through that, really helped kind of spark this idea of, hey, we need to blur the lines a little bit in CBF life and realize that that right down the road in Richmond is a group that can really help us, that we can learn from, and that we can kind of build on and grow ourselves. And I think that's the beauty of this collaborative partnership. But they're not taking over, and we're not taking over CBF of Virginia. This isn't, us merging together. It's working together. And, I have said that I'm a very part-time coordinator, and I say that because I want you to realize, there is limits to what I can do. And so joining with Virginia, that has a coordinator and an associate coordinator and a bit more staff gives us a bit more bandwidth to be able to join them and do some things to resource our clergy, to resource our churches, and to do that. And it just makes sense in this day that we do that throughout CBF life. We ought to be sharing, doing a lot more sharing across lines than kind of keeping everything to ourselves. So I'm excited. Terry has really paved the way on this, and it's connected us, and I'm excited and looking forward to those possibilities.
Thank you, Terry and Sean. I'm going to invite Drew Hill to come up. Drew's going to share about a great opportunity for us to be able to take part in dealing with civil rights.
Good to be with you today. I took a sabbatical in 2019 from the church I served, Memorial Baptist in Arlington. And I devoted that sabbatical to the relationship between religion and race. And one of the things I did as part of that was to follow the U.S. Civil Rights Trail. Took a significant amount of time, and my brother, who's also in the ministry, and I made the journey. And it was a tremendous experience. You can go on the website if you're curious, U.S. Civil Rights Trail, and it will show you, it lists about 100 sites across the country. 14 of them major sites, 14 major sites where there's much to see and experience. And so as soon as I got back home and shared the experience with our congregation, the response of several was, when are you going to go and take us? When are you going to show us? I've hosted about a dozen groups overseas, in Europe and the Middle East. They said, now you got to take us to Dixie this time. Take us to the South this time. Take us on the trip. So we've been thinking about that, and just as we were thinking about it, of course, COVID came along and put that on hold. At the same time, being a part of the Justice Formation Fellowship that you're going to hear more about later on, and in support of the Institute for Justice Formation at Leland, we thought about the idea of making such a journey possible for Leland students, for students that were working on this certificate in justice formation, that would be a great thing too. And so what we're going to do this summer is to take that trip. I'm going to take 12 people, and we'll make the journey as kind of a pilot, kind of see how this goes and how it works out and how to handle the logistical details. And so we're going to be traveling August the 14th through the 26th. It's 12 days. It's a pretty good time commitment, I know, but there's not really any way to shorten it. There's not really any way to abbreviate it. Now, I also understand, we've got a magnificent Smithsonian Museum of African American History right here local, and that's where actually the first stop. And you could do that and research the rest, but as you know, there is such a thing as the theology of place.
Yeah.
There is such a thing as being there and experiencing it firsthand. That is really important. And so I would, I'm inviting you to take a road trip with me. And it's not terribly long distances day by day because it's broken up. You know, it's broken up. There's only a couple of longer drives, and it's profoundly moving. It's emotional. It's certainly educational. It's deeply troubling, and at the same time, it is inspiring. It's just a wonderful thing. So I already have 9 spots filled. I have three spots left. If you'd like to go, 2 things about it. If you decide to do this, you'll never see it more thoroughly. I don't believe. I mean, we're going to hit 11 out of the 14. The only places we're not going to be able to get to just because of the sheer logistics of it is New Orleans, Little Rock, and Topeka. Everything else on it, we're gonna be there for, and you'll never get to see it more economically because thanks to a generous grant from MACBF, part of that racial and diversity funds, it's going to keep the cost down significantly. 12-day trip, lodging, and travel for about $600. You can't do much better than that. In fact, I do need to tell you, there may have to be, I figured that price before gasoline went. So it's possible it might be $650. See how that goes. I decided I'm not going to just cover the difference. Okay. So anyway, that's the experience. I'm encouraging people to do some reading in advance from a bibliography that I'm providing, and then journal the experience, which I think is vital because you do kind of go on overload, both educationally and emotionally, and you really need to journal the experience. But it is it was a life-changing thing for me. I was a history major in college, and I thought I knew, but I didn't know. And so I just really invite you, if you're up for a real road trip, I need to hear from you right away. And I can, if you'll talk to me, they give me an email address, I'll send you the itinerary and all the details along those lines. But I really do need to hear from you pretty quick because 3 more spots and then it's full this time. And then you'll have to wait till we try this again. All right, any question about that? All right, I look forward to it.
Thank you, Drew. Let's not let Drew leave today without those spots filled, okay? I'm gonna ask Meg to come up. She's gonna present the MACBF Seminarian Scholarship.
Yes, one of the wonderful things about MACBF is that we are able to support seminarians right here from our local area. And I want to go ahead and invite the recipient up, who is Karita Brown, because I think it is important for her to be able to stand before us because awarding this scholarship is not just saying we're giving her money, but it is also saying that we as a body believe in the work that she is doing. She is a Demon student at Wesley Theological Seminary. Yes, she is doing hard work and important work. In a little while, one of the breakout sessions is about self-care in the wake of crisis. And that is important for every single one of us. She is doing that hard work, and she's soon to be the Reverend Dr. Karita Brown, which is also very important for us to recognize. Amen. But this scholarship is something more than just giving you money. It is saying that we believe in you, we believe in the good work that you are doing. MACBF, all of our churches, all of our ministries, all of our bodies say that what you are doing is important. The work that you do as a chaplain touches so many people. The work that you are bringing to us today is going to enrich all of us. And we are grateful for you. We are grateful for your ministries. And we are grateful that we get to support you and learn from you and minister with you. So thank you. Thank you, Jen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate being a scholarship recipient for this year. And yes, if they approve my thesis, which is already with my reader, then in May, in a little more than 6 weeks here, I will be get my doctorate of ministry degree. So thank you so much.
Congratulations, Karita. Thank you, Meg, for that wonderful presentation. If you will flip in your packet to the page that has the coordinating council for the upcoming year, you will see we have it broken down. One of the things the administrative team has done in conjunction with Sean is kind of break our coordinating council into classes so that we get a regular rotation and get new people in and don't burn people out. And so you will see the list of the coordinating council members here. I'm going to ask if any of our coordinating council members are here today, if you would stand up so that we can see who everyone is. Great representation today. Thank you. We also want to thank those who are rotating off, and that's Gil, Tom, Joby, and Mike, and you'll see their names there as well. So this is for our bylaws again. The coordinating council has affirmed and approved these new members, the ones you see listed in the year 2025. And so I would like to get the body at large to affirm our coordinating council for the upcoming year. So if you would affirm us in our work, please say amen. Amen. Thank you very much. If you have any kind of curiosity about possibly serving on the coordinating council in the future, please reach out to me or to Sean or any coordinating council member, and we will keep you in mind for the next time. Thank you very much. You have some closing words or direction, or do you want me to do that?
Well, I do want to just kind of point out, and Emily Holiday, I think she had to leave. She has served on the CBF Global Nominating Committee, and we are thankful for that. She is the pastor at Village Baptist at Bowie. But something that's neat is that Josh James is representing us on the CBF Ministry Council, and starting this year, Isaac is going to represent us on the Missions Council, CBF Missions Council, and then Emily was on the nominating committee. We are being well represented, and that's kind of a new thing, and that's great in CBF life. So some of that is because Emily has ended up right here in our backyard, and we're thankful for that. And one little correction, and this was on me, Jennifer Campbell is not Landy. She's actually a pastor. She's a minister, right, at First Baptist DC. I goofed on that. That's all on me.
Well, she's an interim.
Okay.
Pastor, so it's newer.
She's interim, yeah. So, but anyway, she actually is clergy. So, one thing I was talking to Stephen about is our time is fluid when it comes to these meetings. Sometimes we don't start on time, and sometimes we don't finish on time. But when we designed this year's meeting, we did put in a little bit of extra cushion. So it is past 10 o'clock, and we had said that the breakout sessions would start at 10. But we have a little extra time built in between the breakout sessions and worship. So I'm going to encourage us to take a 10-minute break, and let's say those breakout sessions will start at about 10:20. And then let me just say real quick, you see the list of breakout sessions, but right here in this room is going to be Chris Ajo's, and I keep calling it Thriving Together, but it has an actual name that I typed up and put in and can't remember what it is. And so he's going to be here. Oh, thank you. Less planning, more practicing. The other two are in the education wing. You'll go down the steps, take a right, and then take a left, and then you have to split and choose one room because Stephen has placed a strategic sign there. And so the Formation Fellowship, the Justice Formation Fellowship group will be to the left. Andre Towner is leading that one. And then to the right is the self-care, and Karita is leading that one. And Karita wanted me to tell you that you don't have to have a doctorate degree or be in a doctorate study. She said one of the emails I sent might have hinted to that. Anybody can go and be a part of that. There's Andre right there.
And you do have to have a doctor.
Yeah, so Andre, we're gonna start that. You heard it, great. So, you think we're good?
I think we're good.
You guys have questions, Isaac?
Can we get the password for the, yes?
There is a card in there that has it, but ask Stephen because you might not be able to read my writing. Any other questions real quick? Take a break and then find your breakout group that you want to choose and